Welcome to Peak, a growth sport production that explores the power of culture on organizational performance. Music by The Edge. For show notes and more information, visit our website at growth-sport.com. Now here are your hosts, Mary Claire and Dr. Brian.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Peak Podcast. I'm Dr. Brian. I'm running solo today. MC will be back next week. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about peak performance culture and define that if we can. We speak about it a lot, but I want to make sure that everybody understands exactly what we're talking about when we say peak performance culture. Great leadership creates a culture where transparency, continuous improvement, process accountability, and trust drive alignment, engagement, and accountability. And we've said this before on this podcast, but those words are easily said, but they're difficult to accomplish. And oftentimes we use them glibly or in ways that we're not really well defined. And so I want to try to add some definition around them today. If we can get alignment, engagement, and accountability, this will in turn unlock the strength, intelligence, passion, and cooperation needed for collective success in your organization. Let me give you an example of this. In 2001, Netflix was struggling. The dot-com bubble had burst and the company was on the brink of collapse. CEO Reed Hastings knew that survival required more than just a great product. It really required a culture shift. Netflix adopted a radical new philosophy, which they called freedom and responsibility. The company eliminated rigid policies and micromanagement and gave employees extra autonomy. At the same time, they set a high bar for performance. Employees who didn't excel were let go, no matter how long they had been with the company. In fact, Reed started asking his leaders a question to determine if a team member should remain on the team. And I love this question. He asked, knowing what you know now, would you hire this individual today? In other words, you've had a while now to witness or to see how this person would perform in real life. Have they met your expectations? Have they become what you thought they could be? And if not, you should let them go. Now, maybe there's another answer here too, is in terms of training and professional development. But the question and the answer are still strong. What Reed realized was that freedom and responsibility requires attention, detail, effort, commitment, and vulnerability. To succeed, people need to be willing to be accountable to the freedom and responsibility they've been given. Now, what happened? Well, the result was amazing. A culture where innovation thrived emerged. Employees felt empowered to take risks, experiment, and move quickly, qualities that helped Netflix pivot from a DVD rental service to a global streaming giant. Today, Netflix's culture deck, originally a simple PowerPoint, has been viewed millions of times and is considered one of the most influential culture documents in Silicon Valley. You can compare the outcomes with Netflix with those of Blockbuster. And again, a culture of peak performance compared to a culture of non-peak performance is pretty vivid and telling. So how does a leader create this culture of peak performance? How does a leader create alignment, engagement, and accountability while reducing friction? We think there are 5 critical components, characteristics, that leaders must cultivate to overcome the natural hesitancy of individuals to fully engage. First, transparency. Every team member should understand their role and how it contributes to the organization's goals. By fully revealing and internalizing the mission, vision, values, and strategy, team members know how their work aligns with others, reducing the need for political maneuvering and increasing validation. This clarity leads to full engagement in the tasks at hand. 2 things to really pull out of this. First, if you get good leadership and reduce the need for political maneuvering, people spend their energy on the job, not on looking busy. The second part of that is that if I understand exactly what my role is in the organization, what it is that I do and how that matters to what we're trying to accomplish, it's much easier for me to engage and be excited about what's happening. 2, continuous improvement. When leaders provide a clear plan for improving skills and abilities, individuals feel supported and confident. If employees see that leadership values their growth, loyalty and dedication to the organization increases. The most dangerous cultural threat is the hero, the highly productive individual who operates without consequences. If these people are not tirelessly involved in sharing their greatness with others, they should be let go from the organization, no matter how productive they are. Organizations don't need heroes in the sense of individual performers. They need team members that can elevate the entire team. 3, process-driven safety. Relying on process over charisma reduces politics and makes decision-making more predictable. We've all been in a situation where the boss relies entirely on charisma. It's about who you know and not what you know. Progress actually depends on the opposite. It depends on what you know, not who you know. In politically charged environments, employees spend time hiding their work to avoid scrutiny, which reduces overall efficiency. In contrast, process-driven cultures promote trust, accountability, and transparency, fostering engagement and advancing the organization. Promotion and rewards are based on performance, not personality, connections, or nepotism. This obviously requires a lot of thought and attention by the leader on the work that the other people in the organization, the other team members are doing. 4, accountability. High performers prefer accountability as it allows their contributions to be noticed and validated. Clear performance differentiation motivates high performers to stay and low performers to leave. In a high accountability environment, low performers will self-select out to avoid constant exposure of their lack of performance. Whatever you have, low performers or high performers, they will attract more of the same. Finally, 5, trust. Trust is crucial for individuals and teams to admit weaknesses and strive for improvement. Best practices can only be shared and transferred when trust exists. When team members feel safe, they work toward collective success, making the organization more than the sum of its parts. Conversely, a lack of trust leads to self-preservation at the team's expense. If you can do these 5 things, if you can get transparency, continuous improvement, process-driven safety, accountability, and trust, you're well on your way to creating a strong peak performance culture. And remember, culture are the things that we do that drive the outcomes that we desire. So over time, if we can create the behaviors that lead to the results we want, then we can create the sustainable outcomes that we really desire. We can create this on a more sustainable basis. So that's all for me for today. If you like the podcast, we'd invite you to hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends about it as well. And until next week, when we come out with more insights on creating a peak performance culture, we hope that your drive for peak performance is successful.
You've been listening to Peak, a Growth Sport production.